a quick review on 4 replacements for percent, and then we'll go to changing between percents and decimals. So percent means out of 100. This thing here I'm not going to do, we're not in Math 20 right now, but we can rate things on a scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10 or 1 to 100, and it's nice to think about percents just as a 1 to 100 scale. This is the important thing, this box here. So percent means out of 100, and we can replace the percent symbol in 4 different ways. So let's do that. We could say that, let's pick a number. I'm just going to use 47%. We could say that out of 100 is divided by 100, and we could write 47 divided by 100. We're just replacing the percent symbol with a divided by 100. They mean the same thing. We could say out of 100 is 2 decimal point scoots to the left, because in some earlier math we did, dividing by 100 just does that. So we could take the 47, do 2 decimal point scoots to the left, and get 0.47 that way. Again, I'm taking the percent symbol and I'm replacing it with something else equivalent that does the same thing. A third thing we could do is take 47% and say out of 100 is the same as 47 over 100, writing it as a fraction with the denominator of 100. And then we could take 47% and say out of 100 is the same as times 1 over 100. So we could write it 47 times 1 over 100. So we spend a bunch of time in Math 20 dealing with percents, and the goal is to figure out which of these 4 tools is the most efficient one to use in any situation. Sometimes it's one of them, sometimes it's another one of them. All good so far? So in particular, we want to change between decimals and fractions. So I'm sorry, decimals and percents. So if I want to write a percent as a decimal, then which of these 4 things is the easiest one to do? Should I do a divided by 100, a decimal point scoot, write a fraction with the denominator 100, or write it as a times 1 over 100?
Moving the decimal.
Yeah. The other ones would all work eventually. It would just be really long and annoying. So all I want to do is take the 47.1 with the percent sign and say, instead of that symbol, I'm going to scoot the decimal point twice to the left, because that also means out of 100 in math. Now, if we were doing study session, office hours, just working together, I could say 0.471 and write it that way, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just because I'm lecturing, I like to put the 0 in front. I say 0.471. It gives your ear an extra split second to say, oh, heads up, decimal approaching. But it's not because I'm a better math person, it's just because I'm lecturing. So 0.471, 0.471, there we go. Similarly, if I wanted to go the other direction, now I have a decimal that's not a percent format, and I want to put it in percent format. So I want to just put a percent sign on the end. but that changes the number. That's not the same thing anymore. So if I just put a percent sign on the end, I also have to undo that. I have to like go forward a few steps and backwards a few steps. So I get back to where I started. If I change it, I have to unchange it. So if I'm putting that percent sign on, I want to do the opposite of one of these four things. And again, the easiest thing to do is scoot the decimal point. So the opposite of 2 scoots to the left will be 2 scoots to the right. So if I put that on, then I'm also going to have to do 2 scoots to the right to balance things out. So we're back where we started. Now I haven't changed the number. So there's my answer for that. So there's this pattern. It's always 2 scoots because percent always means out of 100, and dividing by 100 was 2 scoots. If I am starting with a plain decimal and going into percent format, I move to the right. If I'm starting inside percent format and I want to get rid of the percent symbol, then I move to the left. The acronym that we use is RIPLOP. And it just stands for right into percent, left out of percent, to help us remember, because sometimes on a test, our brain shuts down. So we can then take some easy problems. I have 0.76 and I want to put that in percent format. I'm going into percent format, so that's to the right. I might even write something like that to remind myself I'm going right into percent. And if I have the 3.3% and I'm moving out of percent format to get a plain decimal, then I will go to the left. Now I did use a feature there I haven't talked about, that if I scoot my decimal point off past the number, then I have to put in zeros to fill in the spot. Okay. Questions? Okay, I'll stop this recording.